Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing things you consider as you plan your relocation. This has become very important because I get a lot of call and question around this. And above all, a couple of days ago, someone reached out to me asking me to help to manage a crisis because her husband was hoping they would travel. They had sold out things, and eventually it looks like the agent duped them. And so the man was almost losing it, and she needed someone to talk to him. So I'm compelled to make this video so that everybody will know. Relocating abroad is not a do or die affair. It is actually not the end of the world. Everybody must not relocate abroad. It requires planning, a long-term planning and projection. It does not happen overnight. It also requires that you have a plan B. We'll always say you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So when you're planning relocation, make sure that you're not stopping your life. Your life has to continue, just in case, because you cannot predict the outcome. You may have everything in place, but for some reason, the consular or the visa officer didn't give you visa, and life shouldn't stop there. For me, anytime I'm refused anything, job, visa, whatever, I know that the best is yet to come. Yes, you may feel bad, but it's not the end of the world. So, to everyone out there who has tried and you didn't get it, cheer up. Try again. If it's in God's plan for you, it will come to pass. All you need to do is find out what you had not done right and begin to do it. Correct them. When you correct them and represent, you will get. But meanwhile, keep doing whatever you're doing. So, in today's video, I want to talk a bit about what you need to put in place. Things you need to look at as you're planning relocation. Number one, you need to consider yourself, you and you alone, and your family comes first. What are your unique preferences? What kind of lifestyle do you like? You want to live a high-class life, very fast life. You want to live in New York, fast cities. You want to live in quiet location. What do you prefer? You need to have a holistic view on your preferences. If you're traveling with children, then that comes into play. It has a major role. If you have family, you may want to consider the type of location you want to train your children in. So you don't just throw the children to where all of you will begin to struggle. So you consider it. The next thing you will consider is your finances. You can't be planning to relocate abroad with nothing. So you need to work towards saving. Now, this becomes a major issue, especially in developing worlds right now with current devaluation of their monies. So it becomes more difficult to save up enough. What do you call enough? It's only you that decide what's enough. But the basic thing about having financial consideration is, do you have at least enough money to fend for you and your family between 3 and 6 months after you arrived your new location? This is very important because you may not be able to get a job immediately. Definitely there will be a job, except you don't want to start with menial job, working in Walmart and other easy to get jobs. There will be job, but it depends on you. However, Those jobs may not be your ideal, but it's good to start with it. But you need to have funds. You need to have money to pay for your accommodation. You need to consider that. Next is the kind of job you want for yourself. Make research about the location you want to go to and be sure that the type of job you're aiming for is even available in those settings. You won't want to go in rural area and want to be working in a headquarter of, an organization. It may not be possible. So you need to research that location of interest and be sure that the type of job, job prospect you're looking for yourself will be available in that setting. However, if you decide that you can land in a more rural or local setting and then expand from there, it also has its own advantages, because you will just live within your means in that local setting until you have adjusted. And maybe when you now get a job in bigger cities, you can begin to move gradually. So it all requires planning. The next thing you need to consider is safety. Safety is important. You need to go to a location of safety. If you are afraid of gun violence, then you may begin to consider how much research. All the information you need is on the internet. Ask questions. How much of a gun violence happens in every location abroad is in the internet. You find it. Check. So you need to check those information because it's very important for you. You also think about the quality of life you want for yourself and your family. What about healthcare system that exists in those locations? How are you able to access it? Can you afford it? And all that. The other thing you look at is the environment and climate. If you're afraid of cold, then maybe Canada won't be it for you. But if you must go to Canada also, there are different regions that are warmer. For instance, British Columbia is known to be one of the warmest provinces in Canada. So that may influence your decision where you want to go and all that. But honestly, you shouldn't be afraid of cold because people are living in those areas. You just learn how to layer up. When I was living in Canada, trust me, I lived in British Columbia, but I was wearing layers during cold season. When I say I layer up, 4 layers, 5 sometimes. If you have allergy, environmental allergy, then you also know. For instance, I know my head office currently is in DC, so I know that sometimes when I go there to work, I react to what I'm not sure of, but I know it's environment because as soon as I leave, it begins to clear up. I begin to have itches on my skin and all that. So you also need to consider them. But remember, for each of those environments, there are always, ways of they take care of life. There are anti-allergic medicines that you can use, even the creams if you're really, really allergic. So you need to research and research and research. You also need to have a community where you can draw strength from, support. Don't go to where you will be alone. No man is an island. Look for people of like mind, location where you find people of like mind, and look for support system if you can. If you have friends or families in those locations that will be able to give you support, then you may be able to think of it as an option. But you need to plan ahead. Plan well ahead and be ready to launch out. You need to have, future plan. Don't plan only for the now, There has to be a future plan. What are your plans? What are your children's plans? What do you think? How will they start with community colleges when they get up to college age, which is usually cheaper? People start with community college. After 2 years, they go to university. In that way, the cost of education will be bearable. And in that way, you would have been able to settle long enough. Do you consider the cost of housing, the rental, and the cost of buying a house? In some location, you won't get anything less than $600,000, housing. But in some location, you could get 300. In some, you will be looking at over $1 million. So make sure you do your research. But above doing your research, plan slowly, but stepwise and consistent. Don't put all your egg in one basket. Don't sell off your things when you have not even gotten the visa. So you're not shocked. You're not thrown into confusion like the one I mentioned. My prayer is that God will grant us every of our heart desires that are good. And relocation is one of them. If that is your portion and you mean it, you will eventually get it. But you need to plan. You need to plan even for the disappointment that comes with it. You need to be strong. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.